And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Eat, Sleep, Podcast, Repeat. My name is Dave Taylor. Thanks for checking us out today. This is going to be a fun one for me. It kind of goes like full circle with my career as I get to interview Ani DiFranco today. In the 1990s, I went to college, went to Central Michigan University, did college radio there for a couple of years. And in February of 1998, 28 years ago, Ani released the Little Plastic Castle album. And at this radio station I worked at, we played a couple of songs from that album. A song's called Little Plastic Castle and Fuel from that. And there was a student that went to Central Michigan University that called our radio station. It's like, hey, do you have any other Ani DiFranco songs? And, well, that was all we had, was just that. And so he reached out to her record company. And lo and behold, we received her entire catalog. So I was exposed to all of her music. The early acoustic stuff, the live album Living in Clip, which is fantastic, by the way. Of course, Shameless and, Puddle Dive. And just so much good stuff in there, and you're listening to all this, you're going through, the albums, Not a Pretty Girl, Out of Range, and Perfectly Not So Soft. Dilate, and of course her self-titled debut, and even the stuff that she did with Utah Phillips. The past didn't go anywhere, and then later down the road I'd get my hands on Fellow Workers, but I was exposed to this music. When we were in college, man, you just hear so much stuff, and you want to take it all in, and it was just so good, and so I ended up doing a radio show on Ani DiFranco, and I used that show as part of my air check, that and the promo. And everything else. And lo and behold, it helped me get my first real radio job. Here we are all these years later. But I had a good show with her music and everything else in the promo. And here we are. And now I get to interview her. And what has Ani got going on? Well, she just recently announced a tour. But also she has a book coming out, The Spirit of Ani, Reflections on Spirituality, Feminism, Music, and Freedom. And it's a book that she worked with Lauren Coyle Rosen. Lauren was a fan for many years and reached out to Ani's management. We'll get into this and how this book all came together. I tell you what, man, the book is a pretty good read. I had a chance to look at an advanced copy of it, and it's a much deeper than I would say a Rolling Stone interview, and very thought-provoking as everything else. And for something that's lost a parent, what she goes into here is fantastic. And actually, I do ask her about her dad and everything else. That there's a lot there, and that book covers a lot of stuff, and it's amazing. Just the answers that we have back and forth and everything. I always appreciate her talent and everything else. And she's never afraid to speak her mind and everything. So here we go. About 10 minutes. You can sit back and enjoy the interview with Ani DiFranco. Oh, before I get to that, can I just self-promote? Thank you for finding us, however you did. I know this got shared on some Ani message boards and Facebook pages and everything else. And message boards. What year is this? Anyways, on social media, you could find us. And if you're listening to us for the first time, 80% of the time, it's a wrestling podcast. But the other 20%, I dive into music. A lot of interviews with a lot of different artists. The next episode's an interview with Joe Satriani. I've talked to Weird Al Yankovic. I have talked to Moon Unit Zappa. I've talked to Don McLean in a 30-minute interview, which is fantastic. And there's so much topics and everything that get covered. I've talked to members of the Blues Brothers. I've talked to so many different people. I've talked to wrestlers as well. And if that's your thing, you can also go down that road. But anywhere you listen to podcasts, just search ESPR Wrestling Podcast, and you'll find a lot of cool stuff. Make sure you subscribe. And look, you can just skip the wrestling episodes if you're not a wrestling fan, and check it out because we do a lot of cool things on this podcast. All right, so without further ado, for real this time, here's the interview with Ani DiFranco. Congrats on the new book.
Thanks so much. I'm excited it's finally coming out.
And, this book's a little different because what I love about it, it's a little deeper than a Rolling Stone interview, is that, Lauren, who you worked on this with, is a fan. So it's really a deep dive into your life.
Yeah. I mean, it was her idea to begin with to engage me about spirituality. That was the jumping off point because she was curious about how I really experienced the world in a spiritual sense. And so the book started as a series of conversations between us, and then we edited it together, sort of back and forth into the form you have.
How did she find you? Obviously, she's a pretty big fan, and she goes into how, like, when she was exposed to Little Plastic Castle and everything as a kid. But, like, how did she reach out to you? And were you leery at first about doing this project, or?
She reached out through my management, as people do, and she is tried and tested academic who's written a lot of books on music and done deep dives of various kinds in her writing. So, and it seemed like a worthy exploration to me too, to sort of drill down more on spirituality. And so, I said yes, and off we went.
Well, it's where I always find you as an open person, but yet very protected at the same time. And but I thought she asked some fantastic questions.
Yeah. She's, in addition to being a very thoughtful and well-read person, she's a very spiritual person. So we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, well, you go into like your dad a little bit, and that kind of put some things in perspective about when he was like in a home and everything, and how his life was different.
Yeah. My connection with my dad was very, very close right from the beginning. He was my guy. He was the bestower of unconditional love in my youth, and losing him was a big thing for me. But like we got into in the book, the moment that he died, he actually, I don't know how to describe it, but he invited me to experience it with him. And I did. I feel like I did. And it was a profound, profound experience of peace and bliss. And so it was a great relief to know that he was released in that way, and that it was so beautiful. And it is also something I carry with me now in terms of not being afraid of death.
Well, I love how you mentioned it in the book too, because he became like a spirit. And then, the dreams afterwards was like, it was like life was continuing on, but just in a different world of sorts.
Yeah. Contrary to the sort of culture that I grew up in and the reality that I was taught, I believe deeply now and thoroughly that death is not an end, that we are not our bodies, that consciousness springs eternal, and that we are just, sort of quarks of consciousness, having an experience as a human in a body. In this moment, we will have many infinite experiences as part of the unified field of consciousness. And so, I do really deeply understand for myself now that after my father died, we continued to have conversations. We continue to have a relationship.
You mentioned in the book about being a purist, which I totally see. You bring up producers and synergy, and I remember an interview we did with CBS Sunday Morning a couple of months ago about how you turned down producers, and then you kind of said you wish you didn't do that to some of your songs. Are there some songs you did wish you worked with somebody on?
Oh, in that sense, all of them. I listen back to my recordings, even the more successful ones, and all I can hear is what I do differently now, or what I wish had happened instead of what did. Certainly, and it's taken me, but, I wasn't, first of all, waiting around for the team of professionals. And second of all, I didn't know anybody. So, being independent and sort of being deliberately, intentionally independent because of my political ideals. Where is the team of professionals? And so I was just doing it on my own, recording my songs, mixing them, producing them, throwing them out into the world for better or worse. So the good news is they're really authentic to that moment of myself. The bad news is maybe they're not sonically as good as they could be or produced as well as they could be to reach the broadest audience or connect, blah, 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 but oh well.
Oh, yeah,
there it was. Yeah. That was the journey.
But it's authentic to me.
Right. Yep. It's true. And
Puddle Dive
it's
and
got that going for it. But and I do feel that though my albums maybe weren't palatable to a broad swath of people because of, I didn't have all those people in the room to help me make it so. The songs sort of found who they needed to find.
I think it works well. I mean, yeah, I know when you added the band and everything else, it's like, well, maybe she's referencing that time or whatever. But to me, like Living in Clip, that live album is one of the best sounding live albums of all time. And, I listen to a lot of stuff.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah, I mean, we recorded those onto ADATs. It was certainly not the best sounding format, but the spirit is there, so I think that's really what people hear or what counts the most. Yeah.
In the book, you mentioned a little bit about like Me Too and everything else, and you were kind of like well ahead of that, when you got started and everything else. Did you, when that kind of became a bigger thing, how did you feel when like that started getting the notoriety that it got?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I was just referring to even those words, Me Too, as being something that I had heard for decades. I guess, being a female who was writing from my experience within patriarchy. So there was a lot of stories from my perspective that came through the songs along the way that were not of the dominant culture, that were not available to other women who were sort of functioning like I was, which is to say like square peg in a round hole of this culture and society, and feeling like, is it me? is it me? So, it's so important for any of us to feel ourselves, see ourselves reflected in the world around us and hear our own realities affirmed outside of ourselves. So, that was just a response I got, especially from other young women right from the beginning when I was writing songs of, oh my gosh, me too. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate everything that you've done, and I know I'm getting tight on time, but if you weren't successful when you started Righteous Babe Records and everything else, did you have like a short-term plan or a long-term plan, or you said, I'm sticking with this to see what happens? And
yeah, I didn't have a plan. There's the truth of it. It was moment by moment, and I'm still pretty much doing that.
You've done quite well with theater and everything else, and now an upcoming tour and another book. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Ani, it's a pleasure. I 20-year-old me never thought this would have happened all these years ago, so thank you so much.
Amazing. Happy to be full circle with you today.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, you too.
Well, that was awesome. That was something that, if you asked me when I was in my early 20s, hey, you're going to interview Ani DiFranco one day, I probably wouldn't have believed you. And here we are. It happened. Fantastic lady. She's done so much. I know she's inspired a lot of people. And, and the music, man, I tell you, man, she's put some good stuff out throughout the years. Just go down that rabbit hole. And I know she's going on tour this year. And she does a lot of cool stuff. She did a stint on Broadway as well. I didn't have time to ask her about that, but that was one of the questions on my list as well. And, this is when she played Persephone in Hadestown. And she did that for a little while. But, fantastic. I appreciate her and her management and everything coming together for that. Again, that book, The Spirit of Ani, Reflections on Spirituality, Feminism, Music, and Freedom, a book that she wrote with Lauren Coyle Rosen. who again put that book together and had some really good questions for Ani there, and just how it came together. So really cool stuff, man. And like, it's always the fear of meeting your idols and everything else. And Lauren put that book together. Kudos to her for making that happen. I want to give her a shout out. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Again, this search ESPR Wrestling Podcast. And we're all over the place. About 400 episodes in and a lot more to go. Yeah, so there you go. So again, my name is Dave Taylor. Thanks for checking us out. And as always, make sure you eat, sleep, podcast, and repeat. Have a great day.